Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys my battle for Week 7 of the Pokemon Premier League. Today we're going to be taking on Alex, otherwise known as Onesie Bennett, and the AS Monferno. This week is a little weird in a lot of different ways, so this time the team analysis and battle is going to be combined into one video. This should be the only time that this happens, but just because of time constraints and things like that, I'm mashing it all into one video. If you guys don't want to see the team builder, I'm going to leave a timestamp in the description. Just click on that and you can skip the team builder and we'll go right to the battle. So, for those of you that do want to see the team analysis, here we are. First thing is I can finally show you the league table because it's updated as of the time I'm recording this, which doesn't usually happen because I usually record these super early. But this is actually the first time I'm recording the team analysis after having the battle, which is something I've never done. So, that is the thing. But as you can see, we are in 5th place. That has kind of been our home for a solid, 3 weeks now. 3 wins, 3 losses, a +1 differential. I keep calling myself the most mediocre team in the league because that's basically what it feels like. Because, we're so even at everything. We're right above the Portland Timbers and Baltimore Braviaries, which did beat us last week. So, they're kind of catching up to us. We need one of Norwich City or Bayern Munich to lose a lot of differential so we can catch up to them. So, we can still realistically get to the top 3, maybe even 2nd place. First place looks like it's kind of out of reach because of Sam and the Newcastle United, still undefeated, and it's not looking like that's going to change anytime soon. So, that is the standings. I cannot show you the Golden Pokeball World because it is not 100% correct, but just know that as far as I know, I think Arcanine is still at the top. Speaking of Arcanine, let's go ahead and talk about the team. Bam! Alright, so, this is the team for the battle against Alex and the AS Monferno. Now, before we get into the team, we did have a transfer period, and this transfer period was very interesting. Me and Alex kind of were in a friendly way, telling each other, what our transfer plans were going to be. They kept kind of changing. I did make a transfer. You can tell on the screen because I didn't bring it this week, but I did drop Cofagrigus, and I picked up Ditto. So, we have a Ditto on the team now, and not a Cofagrigus, because Cofagrigus just wasn't helping me out at all. But I didn't really feel that Ditto was the right mon for this match in particular, so it's fine. Also, Alex's transfer plans changed a lot. I basically built this team before he made any transfers, and then once he did make the transfers, I kind of didn't make any changes, which I probably should have, but at the same time, I looked back over my team once he got his new Pokemon. I looked back over the team, and let's go ahead and get out of that. And I didn't feel like I needed to change anything too much, but we'll get into why that kind of comes back to bite me. But again, not really a big deal. So let's actually go over Alex's full team, which I'll throw both of our teams. Alex has Victini, Mega Sableye, Zapdos, Escavalier, Marowak, Umbreon, Regirock, Whimsicott, Kyurem, Hitmonchan, and Spritzee. Hitmonchan and Spritzee were the 2 new pickups. He had, I forget what he had before. I forget what he dropped actually. But it's not important because he doesn't have those. So, this is a scary team. I knew he has a lot of hard-hitting threats, and he has hard-hitting threats from mons that you wouldn't expect. Things like Escavalier usually get overlooked offensively, things like Marowak, even Regirock on the offensive side. A lot of these things, Hitmonchan, people kind of overlook and don't plan for as much, so I had to really be careful for that, and tried not to get too caught off guard with Victini, Mega Sableye, Zapdos, Kyurem. I had to try and also plan for these other threats that were real threats. So, I think that covers that. I don't have my, what I think he'll bring because I've already battled him, and so I can't really do a prediction of what I think he'll bring when I already know what he brought. So, let's go ahead and just go into why I brought what I brought. Of course, as you can see, Arcanine, Hipster Entity is making its return. It rested for 2 weeks, but it's time to come back. It just needed some rest and to give itself some energy to go ahead and take the league by storm and continue on its quest for the Golden Pokeball Award for the rest of the season. So we're going to be bringing Specially Defensive again, because Specially Defensive Arcanine is best Arcanine. With Intimidate, Leftovers, Flare-Blitz, Will-O-Wisp, Morning Sun, and Crunch. This is basically my Victini counter, because a Choice Banded Victini cannot 2-hit KO this because of Intimidate. And a Special Victini, Choice Specs Victini cannot 2-hit KO because I'm Specially Defensive. So, with Morning Sun, we can, outstall it, things like that. Crunch does a solid 30 to 40% depending on the investment, and yeah, it's good times. That is mainly why this is here. This also can switch into things like Zapdos and things that aren't an Earth Power from Kyurem, like any other move from Kyurem, but it can also switch into physical things if need be, if I need to switch into Hitmonchan, if I need to switch into a Escavalier. Again, it can't be a draw run, so it has its utilities for what it can do. So, Arcanine, of course, just becomes universal switch into anything I need it to be, because that's what Arcanine does. Pretty self-explanatory, so let's go ahead and move on to the next mon. Which is going to be Metaton the Bronzong, also being brought especially defensively with Leftovers, Stealth Rock, Flash Cannon, Hidden Power Fire, and Future Sight. Now, rocks are good. He has a Victini, he has a Kyurem, he has a Zapdos. All of these things do not appreciate rocks. Also, before his transfer, he didn't have a Rapid Spinner, he only had a Defogger, which was Zapdos. But then he did get Hitmonchan. I believe before that he did not have a Rapid Spinner at all. So, that kind of played into a part. You'll see that I bring a lot of hazards this week, because I do want to kind of wear his team down. And of course rocks are good for the Victini, that's the biggest thing, is to wear down Victini, but it can wear down other things also. Flash Cannon was for Kyurem. This is basically the only reason I brought Bronzong was because of Kyurem. If I didn't bring this, Kyurem runs through my team. I was pretty sure, I'm pretty sure actually, that he's going to bring a Scarfed Kyurem, because I have a Hydreigon, which is faster, and a Tornadus T, which is faster, and Mega Altaria, if it's +1 with Dragon Dance. All of those things are weak to Kyurem's Ice Beam. So, it made the most sense for him to bring a Choice Scarfed Kyurem. And so, Bronzong just completely shuts that down. And that's what the Flash Cannon is there. Hidden Power Fire is for the Escavalier switch in, because I didn't have a lot to switch into Escavalier once it was in, outside of like Hitmontop. But I wanted to be able to do damage to it and kind of wear that down quickly, so that way it doesn't just dent too many holes in my team. And Future Sight, I could have put Psychic here. I could have, but this is more of an inside thing because Alex is a huge fan of Future Sight. I forget if he brought it against me last season or he wanted to. I remember that we have talked a good bit about how much he loves Future Sight, and because Future Sight is base 120 power, I was just like, you know what? This could actually come in handy because I need more power because I want to do damage on his team. Chip damage on his team is just essential because a decent, I guess that's not true. Some of these smaller threats, these smaller offensive threats, they don't have recovery. So things like Escavalier, Marowak, Regirock does, but I'm not really weak to fighting, so Drain Punch being his only like recovery thing isn't going to do that much to me. Things like that. So, that's why I figured I'd have more power. But yeah, this is basically for Kyurem, and can be used for other things if need be. But it's mainly Kyurem. So that's Bronzong. Then we have Nando the Roserade with the Expert Belt, Natural Cure, Spikes, Toxic Spikes, Dazzling Gleam, Giga Drain, Max HP, Max Special Attack, Modest. With Modest, Expert Belt, Dazzling Gleam is a 2-hit KO on Mega Sableye, which is the one thing that could switch in and stop me from hazard stacking him because of Magic Bounce. So yes, I'm bringing a hazard stacking team against a team with Mega Sableye. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't think he wants to switch in Mega Sableye onto the thing that can hazard stack against him, because I can 2-hit KO. he doesn't have a poison type, so Toxic Spikes is going to poison basically almost everything. The only things that Toxic Spikes do not affect are Zapdos and Escavalier. That's it. That's literally it. Everything else gets affected by Toxic Spikes. And the same thing for Spikes, except for Zapdos is the only one that is not grounded. So you can see why I wanted to bring this. And Giga Drain is good stab. It also does a lot to Regirock, because I didn't really have much on my team to hit Regirock, so I figured that would be good. Sludge Bomb probably would have been a good bring. This is one of those things that this team was made before Spritzy, and I know it sounds like Spritzy is just like a meme pick, but it's not awful. Like, defensively, I haven't actually done the calcs myself, but I believe Alex said that with an Eviolite it's bulkier than a Romantis, which I actually would not be surprised if that's true. So Sludge Bomb actually might not have been a bad idea, but I made this team before the transfer, and I didn't bother to change it before the actual match, so I kept Giga Drain on it. Giga Drain's also good for Marowak, actually, so that's another thing. Yeah, so that's basically it. Dazzling Gleam also hits Umbreon, and that's about it. So this does get walled by a couple things, mainly Victini, Zapdos, and Escavalier, basically all the big threats, but this wasn't, despite the fact that it's max special type modest, this wasn't really meant for offense. It was meant for hazard stacking and just doing chip damage when I needed it to. Next mod is going to be Eddie Gordo. Can you guess what set I'm bringing? That's right, it's Physically Defensive, Leftovers, Intimidate. Basically what I bring most of the time. This is for all of those threats that I was telling you about. The Escavalier, the Marowak, the Regirock, the Hitmonchan. Any of these physical attackers don't really want to, they can't do a whole lot to Hitmontop. Yes, it can kind of get worn down. That's why I have Protect, so I have Close Combat, Rapid, Protect, Sucker Punch. The Protect is to get extra leftovers if I need it, because he actually doesn't have that much knockoff on his team. He has knockoff on Escavalier and Marowak, and that's about it. So, that is two things that Hitmontop could potentially be switching in on, but you know, it is what it is. Close Combat, of course, is a good move to have. This thing gets completely walled by Mega Sableye, but I figured I had enough things on the team that can deal with Mega Sableye that it was okay. Because I didn't really want to bring Hitmontop, but Rapid Spin was also good in case he brought rocks on like Regirock or whatever. So it is what it is. I brought Hitmontop. Sucker Punch because, you know, he has a Victini, which if it gets out of control, Sucker Punch, and I can do a decent amount too. That's the main reason that that's there, because obviously I'm kind of scared of Victini because it is one of the best mons in the format, so there you go. Pretty self-explanatory, so let's go ahead and move on to Mega Altaria. Oh, I didn't nickname this one. This is Bushnell. We Mega Altaria, with the, well, not sure cure, but it doesn't matter, obviously. It has Pixelate, Hyper Voice, Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, and Roost. Max HP, max special attack, modest. So yeah, this is, I've actually been bringing Mega Altaria like every single week, so after like, how many weeks did I not bring it to start the season? I don't even know, but this thing is, I love Mega Altaria. It's actually, it's doing really, really well. I really like it. This does a lot to his team. Hyper Voice, obviously I had to bring Mega Altaria because there's a Mega Sableye. That's the main thing, but Hyper Voice, Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, with those three moves, I just hit everything so hard. Draco Meteor hits Victini decently hard. Victini is probably the best thing I can kind of do with this, but also depends, but you know, Draco Meteor does a lot of damage. Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice is almost a Oko on a specially defensive Mega Sableye. I think max roll is like 99%. It's so close. It's so close. But it's a 2-hit KO, obviously. And if he's not specially defensive, then I do have a chance to Oko. Zapdos doesn't want to be taking Hyper Voices or Dracos. Escavalier just dies to Fire Blast. Marowak doesn't want to be taking Hyper Voices or Dracos. Umbreon doesn't want to take Hyper Voices. Regirock doesn't really want to deal with Hyper Voice or Draco. Whimsicott, Hyper Voice, Fire Blast. Kyurem, Hyper Voice, and Draco Meteor. Hitmonchan, Hyper Voice, and Spritzy actually, especially defensive Spritzy, I didn't actually do this calc until after the battle. Especially defensive Eviolite Spritzy does not get 2 KO'd by this, so that is the thing. Hyper Voice does like 40%, 40 to slightly upwards of 40%. So, but yeah, it does basically run through his team, and I have Roost and Max HP just for bulk instead of going further the speed route, because a lot of his things are either way slower or way faster. So, you know, you have Zapdos and Kyurem, which are like faster, and then you have like, you know, Marowak, Escavalier, that are like way slower. This was also made before the Hitmonchan thing, so Hitmonchan's just like slightly slower, but it's fine. I can live a hit from Hitmonchan, and I can OHKO with Hyper Voice. So unless it's Assault Vest, which I actually don't even remember. But I made this team really, really fast, and that's crazy. But so I might have overlooked a couple minor things, but it's fine. Then we have Final Mon, Deltamon, the Hydreigon with Choice Scarf, Levitate, Draco, Meteor, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, U-Turn. Similar thing to Mega Altaria as far as the Draco Meteor. Just so many teams don't want to deal with Draco Meteor, and like Alex's Dragon Resist, which is a Scavalier, dies to Flamethrower. Again, this was made before Spritzy, so like I didn't put Flash Cannon, although I don't really know where Flash Cannon would have fit. Dark Pulse is for the Victini. This is Scarf A to take out well, it doesn't OHKO, but to outspeed and do a lot of damage to Victini. Also, because I think he was going to Scarf his Kyurem, I have enough speed to outspeed a Scarfed Kyurem. So, and Draco Meteor does a lot to that. And U-Turn for Momentum. So, pretty self-explanatory. Scarfed Hydreigon, I have been committing recently and actually throwing a Scarf instead of just expert building it. But, yeah. So, that's the team. Let me know what you think about it. This team was made a lot faster than I should probably spend on a team. Like, I kind of just went through and I threw these things together, and I kept double checking it to see if I should change anything, and it kept looking like this was the team to bring. So, this is the team I brought, and let's see how it turned out. So, let me know what you think about the team, and I'll see you in less than a second for the battle. Alright, and here we are for the battle. Everything that needed to be covered has already been covered at the beginning of this video or in the team analysis portion, so we can actually basically just get in with the battle. Now, this battle is going to be completely post-com instead of the live recording way that I've been doing it, because, again, this week has been kind of weird. And this was basically as a result of, we had a day that we were planning to battle, but the day before we were just kind of in a Skype call, like with a group of people, and we were just like, do you want to just battle now? And so we just battled then, and so I didn't really have time to just set up all like, the live recording stuff like that. I was just like, I'll just, you know, battle there, and I'll just do a post-com this week, so it's not that big of a difference, except for that I might be talking faster or whatever. But so yeah, this one's gonna be like super post-com with like the post-com stuff, which is fine. It's not actually that different. And you can see that the team that Alex did end up bringing is Hitmonchan, Zapdos, Marowak, Spritzy, Kyurem, and Victini. This team caught me slightly off guard, but at the same time not too much. Victini, of course, I was expecting. Kyurem, I knew was coming. Spritzy, I really didn't think it was going to show up. I didn't really see the point, but after the fact, I actually really do see the point. And if you guys, you know, heard in the team analysis, I was basically saying that this thing ends up being a lot bulkier than I really thought that it would be. There's no Mega Sableye, which I wasn't super surprised about. I did put a lot of planning into how to take it down, but he didn't bring it, so it is what it is. And there's really not much else to say. Team matchup, my team looks a lot scarier, but that doesn't really mean anything because looks can be deceiving. So let's go ahead into the match. I figured that my best lead was going to be Hydreigon because it had a good matchup against everything that it could start out with. Either it fires off a Draco or it gets momentum with U-Turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play the battle. And I go ahead and I do what I said I was just going to do, and I start off with the Hydreigon, and he starts off with Victini. Now, Turn 1, I had to scout for the Scarf. If he was like scarfed with Dazzling Gleam, he could have just taken me out right there. I couldn't risk that, so I switch into my Victini counter, which is the Arcanine. And I just need to scout for the Scarf, and as you can see, I get the Intimidate off, and he goes for Protect. That definitely was not something I was predicting, but it means that he's not choiced, which is cool. Because this is kind of like my Victini counter, I really expected him to switch out, and I went for a Will-O-Wisp. Over prediction early in the game. Nothing happens other than he gets a Toxic off on me, which I really did not like. And then he goes for Psyshock, and I'm actually really liking this. Like, one by one, I'm just finding out his moveset. Like, he's already revealed 3/4 of his moveset. I go for Flare Blitz, that does nothing. And, like, so many warning signs are going off. This is not any sort of normal Victini that I've ever gone up against ever before. This is not doing much damage. It has Psyshock of all moves. It didn't take that much damage from Flare Blitz, and I was just like, whoa, I need to figure out what this Victini is trying to do. And my Arcanine is supposed to be taking on this Victini, but this Victini is taking on my Arcanine, which is an issue. I go for Morning Sun because now that I know that Psyshock is his attacking move, I was just like, oh, so he can't do that much for me. Now I'm thinking that his 4th move is Dazzling Gleam. I have Mega Altaria, I have Hydreigon, I have things that do not appreciate Dazzling Gleam, and I figured if he didn't have it, that's a free switch into Hydreigon and a free switch into other things. So I scout for it by going into Bronzong. He can't Toxic me, Psyshock doesn't do that much, Dazzling Gleam doesn't do that much. So I take this opportunity to get up rocks. I really did not think that he had Fire Stab here, because it wouldn't make sense as the 4th move. I just didn't think that it was there, though. That's why I thought Bronzong was a safe switch. And he switches out, which basically confirms that. And he goes into his Marowak. Now, Marowak is a threat and a half. I knew a knockoff was coming here. I have a Bronzong in. He goes for the knockoff, and that does a lot of damage to Bronzong. Might actually have a chance to take it out, or he knocks off my item. So I predict this, and I go into Mega Altaria, so he can't knock off my item, and because it doesn't do that much, but that does a decent amount. I calc it. If he does not have HP investment, this Hyper Voice is a good chance to OHKO. Like a really good chance to OHKO. I'm sorry, Draco Meteor, not Hyper Voice. However, this HP bar goes down way too slow for my liking, and I was like, that's not killing. And it doesn't kill. He goes for an Iron Head, Mega Altaria is down. That is unfortunate. Now, thankfully, he didn't have, the crit didn't matter, by the way. He didn't have, let me see, like a Scavalier. He didn't have Mega Sableye, so losing Mega Altaria was not as bad as it could have been. And that's part of the reason why I was really risky with that, but in the end, I did get a lot of damage off on the Marowak, so it was fine. It was kind of a trade-off, but man, really sucks. So yeah, he actually turns out to be max HP, by the way. He switches into Zapdos as I go for the Flare Blitz, and I was just like, that's not really a switch in. You can see by this HP bar, that was actually slightly above, like it was a roll, but I don't think it would have taken him out, especially if he was leftovers, which I think he is, but I get the burn. This burn is huge, because after the burn, that means that he's going to die to another Flare Blitz. I figured he wanted to get a Defog off, which he did. Actually, I don't think he had leftovers, so it would have been a chance to take him out, but I think it was definitely a roll in his favor to live. He goes for the Defog, I go for the Flare Blitz, Zapdos is down, just like that. I didn't learn anything about the Zapdos outside that it has Defog, so I don't even know what it is or what it was trying to do, but it's dead now, and it is unfortunate for him because it was due to hacks from a Flare Blitz burn. But I could have kind of 1v1'd it. I probably would have went for Will-O-Wisp at some point, and I just don't think that Zapdos was that big of a threat to my team. So I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but it is something. Now he sends in Victini, and I kind of thought this was weird. I didn't really know what he was doing. Because again, this is like my answer to Victini, so why are you bringing your Victini in on me? But he kind of, it's this weird dynamic, because he kind of brought Victini to deal with Arcanine and like Wall Arcanine and things like that. I had Crunch and I just never really went for it, but he switches out into the Marowak as I went for the Morning Sun. He must have been predicting something else to show up, maybe the Bronzong to come back in. And he switches back out into Victini as I just go for the Flare Blitz because I wanted to try and take out Marowak, and Crunch was actually a roll or it was just below the amount of damage that I needed to be able to take out the Marowak. So I had to go for Flare Blitz if I wanted to take out the Marowak. But he switches back into Victini, and I was just like, ugh, here we go again. He still hasn't revealed his 4th move, which I still at this point believe to be Dazzling Gleam. So I figure I need to, I think I switch out into Bronzong because that's right now my only safe switch. Yeah. So I go back out in the Bronzong, basically to get rocks back up, and he reveals Trick Room. There we go. We have his entire moveset. His only attacking move is Psyshock. That's a free switch into Hydreigon every single day of the week. He can Toxic it, that's fine. It doesn't matter, because the only priority he has on his team could be Mach Punch on Hitmonchan, and then, like, it's easy, I go for the Future Sight. Also, he set up a Trick Room while I have a Bronzong in, which is going to outspeed him, so I didn't quite get that, but whatever. I go for the Stealth Rock. I know he could Rapid Spin, but I just kind of wanted a free turn, and he goes for Bulk Up. Whoa, I started to get scared. Very, very scared. But because of the Future Sight, I knew that he didn't want to stay in, and, like, take the damage. So that does actually force him out. And I go for the Flash Cane because I just wanted to get damage off on him and kind of scout for what kind of Hitmonchan that was. And this is the second important hacks in the match. I get a crit. That did a lot of damage. So this Spritzy takes Flash Cannon, the Future Sight attack, and then dies to another Flash Cannon. With all that damage, he had a good chance to live. He easily could live 2 Flash Cannons, and I think with the Future Sight damage, I think he could have lived, and then he could have stalled me out with Witch Protect. However, this Spritzy did not have any attacking moves, meaning that it couldn't have ever actually won him the game, in my opinion. But I didn't actually have anything on my team that could 2-hit KO it. So, but I mean, eventually he would have had to go for something that's not Wish or Protect, and I think I would have been able to beat him eventually at some point. He goes back and out into Hitmonchan, and he reveals that he is Max Attack Adamant Life Orb, which is not good. I thought because of the bulk up, I thought he was going to be specially defensive with leftovers, but that was not the case. So, yeah, I was completely caught off guard by that too. Like, this Hitmonchan did way more damage than I thought it would be. So I just go into Arcanine. I'm just like, with the Intimidate, max HP, I'm sure I'll be able to take a hit from this, no problem. Goes for another close combat, and this does so much damage. Look at that. I live on 7 HP, which is crazy. I did not think that I was going, I thought I was going to live that a lot easier than I did. But dude, Life Orb close combat from Hitmonchan, I think this was Max Attack Adamant too. It's no joke. Thankfully I do live because of my leftovers. And I just decided to save this for a sack later on. I go into Hitmontop. I get the second Intimidate, which means close combat really shouldn't be doing a whole lot anymore to anything. But he actually just withdraws, probably predicting that. And he goes in to Kyurem. Now, I still have my answer to Kyurem alive, so I'm going to go into it. I could live a hit. Oh, he also takes his Future Sight attack, which is awesome. So that chip damage on Kyurem was really nice. So Future Sight actually ended up being a decent bring. You know, because I thought about bringing Psychic, but nah, Future Sight. And he switches out into Marowak, predicting me to switch in the Bronzong, and I believe he gets that prediction right. Yes, he does. And fun fact, he actually had 0 speed IVs on this Marowak because, you know, he kind of brought Trick Room. And so my Bronzong was actually faster than his Marowak. But I didn't know that. So, of course, I switch out thinking he's going to take me out with a knockoff. Despite the fact that I could have killed him here, but whatever. I decided to sack Arcanine. Because it has done its job. And, you know, all that good stuff. It got its kill. So still getting kills, and kills are the only thing that matters with the Golden Pokeball Award. So as long as Arcanine gets kills, then it's still doing good. So Marowak, though, gets its second kill. Second kill of the game for Marowak. How about that? I go into Roserade because I can just take it out. I go for the Dazzling Gleam because the only thing that wanted to take a Dazzling Gleam was Victini, and once he brings in Victini, I can switch into Hydreigon, and we're fine. And I believe that's what happens here. Also, he's taking rocks damage when he switches in, which is good. The more times I can force in Victini, the more rocks damage it can take, and it's really good. So I'm starting to kind of develop an end game plan here, which is nice. He goes for the Trick Room as I go into Hydreigon, but the only thing he can do is Toxic me. The only thing. Because his only attacking move is Psyshock, so he cannot 1v1 me. He has to switch into something else. Nothing wants to take a Draco Meteor. So I believe I go for the Draco Meteor, and I hit. If I wouldn't have hit, actually it was Trick Room, so I think he would have been able to go first. How about that? But I hit my Draco Meteor. I don't think Hydreigon has missed a Draco Meteor this season, which is awesome. And Hydreigon picks up a kill, which surprisingly, Hydreigon does not have that many kills this season. We need to work on that. Crit didn't matter, obviously. And that Kyurem is down. That makes Bronzong a little bit more expendable because I don't really need it anymore. I can use it to kind of absorb some damage, and I think that's what I do here, as well as to also threat him out by getting off a Future Sight. But he just goes for the Drain Punch and takes me out. Yes, he takes me out. So that's I go for Hitmonchan, which is really scary. This Hitmonchan is looking really scary. Now, I had to kind of scout. So alright, so he's revealed Drain Punch, Close Combat, and Bulk Up. So his last move is either Ice Punch or Mach Punch. I was thinking that it's Mach Punch because then Hydreigon can outspeed and take him out with the Draco Meteor, and I didn't think he wanted that. However, we will get around to what that is. So I bring in Hitmontop, which is kind of a safe middle because, you know, I can get the Intimidate off, things like that. Go for the Close Combat. Sucker Punch was not going to take this thing out, especially because this was physically defensive Victini. Plus, there was no guarantee that he was actually going to go for a Side Shock this turn, so Sucker Punch, not worth it. Intimidate is still useful for that Hitmonchan, so I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to go into the Hydreigon again, free switch, like I said. And I believe he goes for the Toxic, which he does, but again, Toxic Hydreigon doesn't really matter that much. I think at +1, I feel like Mach Punch does like 80% at +1, so I figured that I couldn't stay on a Mach Punch. I couldn't stay on Hitmonchan regardless. I couldn't stay in and take a Mach Punch from Hitmonchan regardless, so that wasn't in the plans. That's why I was keeping Hitmontop alive, and why I had that, so that way I could switch into Hitmonchan instead of having to try and worry about damage rolls and things like that. I go for the Draco, expecting him to switch out, and he doesn't. Looking at the roll, max HP, a physically defensive Victini, it does like 52 to 60% or something like that. After the Protect, I think that puts either the roll in his favor, or it puts him out of range for him to die to a Draco. But I go for Draco Meteor, and it almost takes him out, but it doesn't. However, he goes for the Trick Room, and I figure he's not going to stay in, because this is his Trick Room setter. He also had Trick Room on Spritzy, but this is his Trick Room setter that's alive, which means that he's going to try and set up with something else to try and take me out, which I think Hitmonchan was the only other thing alive. There might have been one other thing. I'm probably forgetting something. I think Hitmonchan is actually the only thing alive. So he's going to go into the Hitmonchan. As I predict that-ish, and double switch into Roserade. Roserade was kind of expendable, plus I just wanted to get some chip damage off. He reveals that his fourth move is Ice Punch, meaning he doesn't have Mach Punch. So once I wear out the Trick Room turns, Hydreigon outspeeds and can just take this out. Like, that's it. It's all said and done. However, spoilers, it doesn't actually come down to that. So I go into Hitmontop, and he goes for the Bulk Up as I go for the Close Combat. He eventually has to take me out. Once he takes me out, I can go into Hydreigon, and I can just take this thing out with the Draco Meteor, because it's a no-go from, especially because this is like Adamant Life Orb, like this isn't any sort of specially defensive one. So he has to try and attack me. I'm just going to keep getting damage on him, because if he gets high enough, actually I want to say Draco Meteor does 60 to 70 something %. So if he's like above that, like I don't want to risk that. So I just keep doing damage until he takes me out. And kind of wasting until the Trick Room turns go away, which I think they do this turn. I'm not sure. Let's double check. I think, bam, Trick Room's over. He doesn't really have a chance here. I go for Close Combat, and Hitmontop takes it out, so I don't even need to worry about Hydreigon. And that is actually the end of the game, because, you know, Trick Room just couldn't last longer, and the Victini comes in and dies to rocks, and we get a crazy close 2-0 victory against Alex. So this is 3 seasons that I faced Alex, and 3 seasons that I've beaten Alex. That is crazy to think about. Let me go ahead and stop. Bam! Yeah, so we get the 2-0 victory. Hacks definitely helped us, but it isn't guaranteed that he would have been able to win even if they didn't happen. Like, Zapdos didn't really do a lot to my team. It was bulky, yes, but I mean, Arcanine could come in any time. I could have Will-O-Wisp at some point. Doesn't matter. Spritzy, while it was hard to take down, couldn't actually do any damage back. So if it's the last thing alive, you know, a mixture of a status move like Will-O-Wisp with Arcanine, or who knows what would have happened at that point. You know, maybe if I could have gotten some hazards up and it took hazard damage as it came in. It's really hard to say how this battle would have turned out if the crit on Spritzy didn't happen or the burn on Zapdos didn't happen. I don't think it's definitive that I still would have won. I don't think it's definitive that he would have won. I think it would have just changed the battle entirely, and we just never really know what would have happened. But unfortunately, Pokemon is the game we play, and this is the type of stuff that happens sometimes. So it sucks, but this was still a really fun game, and this gives us a win, meaning we have 4 wins, 3 losses. We still have a chance to finish with a better record than last season. Last season we finished with 7 wins and 4 losses. So we just can't lose again, and we will do better than last season. I don't really feel super confident about that. I feel like we're going to lose at least one more time, because we have some scary opponents left. But it's fine. Giving us this 4th win, basically, I don't think it statistically does, but it almost guarantees us that we won't end up in 10th, 11th, or 12th, which is Division 2 relegation area, which we want to avoid, and it looks like we're going to be able to avoid that. So this is good. This means that the rest of the season can just play out for fun. I have a Ditto on my team now, so I should have lots of fun, as well as, you know, you never know what to expect from me for the next couple weeks, because I could do just about anything. And yeah, so that basically wraps up this battle. Make sure you go check out Alex, and his links are in the description and all that good stuff. And yes, that wraps everything up. So I will see you guys on the next time. Thanks for watching. Till then, stay sly.